Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you being here. In November 2022, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees issued a non-return advisory calling on all governments to suspend the forced return of Haitians to Haiti. Since UNHCR's warning that the forced removal of people to Haiti places them at risk of persecution, torture, and other serious and irreparable harm, and is explicitly prohibited by international and US law, the US government has sent 9 deportation flights to Haiti. Today, Americans for Immigrant Justice, Sant Law, Catholic Legal Services, the Haitian Bridge Alliance, FAM, and the Florida Immigrant Coalition join Refugees International and more than 70 other organizations to demand that the US government cease forced returns to Haiti. We stand in unity with many elected officials, including Representative Joseph, who is here today, who are compelled to request the same demand. During this call, you will hear what you already know. It is unsafe and inhumane to return individuals to Haiti, and the government's decision to continue doing so conflicts directly with current US domestic and foreign policy. We will speak for the next 30 minutes and then open it up for questions. And with that, I'm going to pass the microphone to my colleague, Gypsy.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this very important webinar. You know, we are gathered as Americans of Haitian descent with our allies, our friends, and the human rights community and the legal services community to essentially echo the same message. It's a message that all of you have heard. It's a message that's been heard the world over, and it's a message to halt deportations to Haiti. It's a demand that, in all good conscience, deportations to Haiti must be halted. And again, we know the story. We know the reasons behind our demand. The reasons are that gangs have essentially taken over life in Haiti. And with this brutal presence of gangs, on a daily basis, we're hearing about rapes, we're hearing about kidnappings, we're hearing about people being maimed, people being displaced, people's lives grinding to a halt out of fear, out of being threatened, out of being menaced. The business sector in the country has come again to a grinding halt. Schools are closed, hospitals or clinics, the few that were operational, have ceased to operate given the terrible conditions on the ground in Haiti. And these are some of the conditions that our government, the beacon of hope, the government that stands for all things that are just and right in the world, stands for democracy, stands for the rule of law, stands for protecting human rights. This is the very same government that would, under these circumstances, continue to deport Haitians who are fleeing these desperate conditions at the rhythm that they've been deported. And this is the reason that today, again, we're come together to echo the same demand that deportations must be halted, given the terrible, the inhumane, the desperately dangerous conditions in Haiti. Conditions, by the way, that our very own government has, about which we've issued a communique telling all Americans to not travel to Haiti. And if in fact they are already in Haiti, we've urged them to book the next flight out as soon as possible, right? And so these are the very conditions that we then are deporting Haitian nationals to. And this is the reason, again, we've come together to demand that deportations be halted. Thank you, and I will pass it on to Vanessa Joseph.
I will go ahead and Vanessa's not responding. In addition to what we've just heard from Gypsy, we also know that in the recent months, the U.S. Embassy in Haiti has requested that all U.S. citizens currently in Haiti left the country because of the high level of crime and insecurity. We also know that the U.S. Embassy has closed its doors in Haiti and has recently announced last week that it would not provide appointments for tourist visas until 2026. We also know that the U.S. State Department has put out multiple travel advisories to inform U.S. citizens of the risk it takes to travel currently to Haiti. If the State Department and the U.S. government understand how dangerous life is in Haiti for U.S. citizens, why is it that there is a complete disregard of these recommendations for U.S. citizens and the United States continue to deport Haitians to Haiti? The Haitians' lives are just as important. We know that there are deportation priorities that were established in 2021. We know that the folks who are being deported on those continued flights to Haiti are not all felons. We know that the US government knows well enough, especially after approving TPS, after approving all of these programs for Haitians, they are well aware that it is putting at risk more innocent lives by sending them back to Haiti. And with that, we demand that all deportation flights to Haiti cease immediately. And with that, I will pass it on to Paul Murphy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from the Family Action Network movement. Greetings to our allies and responsible media outlets uplifting our message of support for Haitian refugees facing deportation. In our call to halt all deportations, expulsions, repatriation flights to Haiti immediately, we uplift the language of the FAM Neon press release after the end of August deportations. We know very well that whether it is an airplane with one deported refugee or 100, deportations to Haiti are wrong, immoral, and cruel. And we uplift, as was mentioned earlier, the non-return advisory made by the UNHCR and the remarks of High Commissioner for Refugees, Filippo Grandi, since the end of 2022, that nation states neighboring Haiti should not be sending Haitian refugees back to Haiti on the condition that Haiti is in right now. So this is absolutely unconscionable. Gypsy and Tessa mentioned the travel advisories, which curiously have always been in the few days before these deportation flights. I refer to the August 30 travel advisory before the August 31st flight, as well as the July 27th travel advisory before the August 2nd flight. I mean, these were 1 to several days before these deportation flights, citing prevalent insecurity and infrastructure challenges, escalating violence, displacement, and murders. The United States authorities know that they are placing Haitian lives in danger when they are deporting them. Current Haitian conditions make these deportation flights inherently inhumane and completely inconsistent with those, not only with the travel advisories, but also with DHS's own redesignation at the beginning of 2023 of Haiti for TPS, which required a finding that returning anyone to conditions of safety in Haiti is currently impossible. And since those country conditions were assessed, the conditions, we all agree, have gotten worse. Control of large swaths of territory by armed gangs with the support of officials in power and the political and economic elites, acts of killing, kidnapping, rape, and other gender-based violence, armed robberies of the civilian population. We refer specifically to the Carrefour massacre, 54 individuals between August 11th and August 15th, and the Canaran massacres, where at least 7 people on August 25th were killed by a machine gun fired by armed men. And we know many organizations, Human Rights Watch, for example, meticulously documenting the terrible abuses and articulating the need both for governance changes in Haiti as well as the end and sanctions to the political elites accused of sponsoring gangs as their street enforcers. These are the conditions that Haitians live on a daily basis inside Haiti. The UN Human Rights Office own report, between January 1st, August 15th, 2,439 Haitians have been killed, close to 1,000 kidnapped. Humanitarian crisis forcing 200,000 people to leave their homes nationwide. Over 5 million people needing humanitarian assistance, many suffering from hunger. These are not the conditions that people should be returned to. And we salute the great work by many organizations in Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, IGDH, Haitian Bridge Alliance. Many have condemned the human rights situation in Haiti. No one should be deported to such conditions. DHS should halt all further deportations to Haiti. We reiterate our call that the United Nations also needs, and the United States needs to be, in terms of root cause analysis, really supporting the democratic movement inside Haiti, supporting a transition so that the Haitian people can begin to have agency in their own country and not be in the midst of these horrible and catastrophic conditions in Haiti that decision makers are very, very complicit in creating. So again, I uplift the letter both from FAM and Neon of a month ago, as well as the FAM in Action RC4 and Neon's recent letter about the U.S. foreign policy. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm passing it on to the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Paul, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vanessa Joseph, and I am an immigration attorney at Catholic Legal Services. I'm also the elected city clerk for the city of North Miami, which is home to one of the largest concentrations of people of Haitian descent in Florida. And I want to thank you again for joining us today to address a pressing issue that demands immediate attention, but not just by us who are in the fight day in and day out, but it also requires the attention of the media and anyone who believes in the dignity and humanity of our most vulnerable neighbors and brothers and sisters. As it was said, since November 2022, the United States has continued to send deportation flights to Haiti. And so today we stand before you united in our concerns about the safety and well-being of individuals who are forcibly returned to Haiti under these dire circumstances, which you have heard Paul and Gypsy Metellus outline. The situation in Haiti is in fact dire, and we cannot ignore the grave humanitarian concerns associated with these deportation flights. And we have heard stories and witnessed the hardships that individuals face upon their forced return to Haiti. And these are real people with real lives who deserve protection. It's the responsibility of the Biden administration to ensure that deportations do not lead to serious harm for those who are returned to Haiti. And so we call upon the administration to prioritize the safety and the rights of these individuals. We cannot forget the importance of upholding humanitarian values. The United States has a historical commitment to providing refuge for those in need, and Haitian people should be no different. Today, we appeal to the core values of compassion and empathy, principles that our country has so proudly said it has espoused from its founding. And so we demand the immediate suspension of all scheduled deportation flights to Haiti until conditions on the ground improve and credible safety can be ensured. Sending more individuals into such a volatile situation is not a solution. And we urge the Biden administration to initiate an investigation into the experiences of those who are deported to Haiti and who have been deported to Haiti since November 2022. And we must call for measures to rectify any harm experienced by individuals who are forcibly returned, including facilitating humanitarian parole applications and family reunification applications that are still pending with a closed embassy. For the past 25 years, Catholic Legal Services and its partners have played a crucial role in providing legal assistance and support to individuals who face deportation. And we have seen cases where legal intervention has made a profound difference in the lives of those that we serve. But we cannot do this alone. So we urge the media to shine a light on this pressing issue, to tell the stories of those who've been affected, and to raise awareness about the situation in Haiti. And we implore the public to support our cause and advocate for fair and humane immigration policies, regardless of where someone comes from or regardless of the color of their skin. And so as I close, I want to emphasize the urgency of this situation. Lives are at stake and the well-being of countless individuals hang in the balance. So we hope for a swift resolution that prioritizes the safety and dignity of Haitian people. Thank you again for your attention, for being here with us this afternoon. We look forward to your collaboration as we work towards a just and compassionate solution. And so at this time, before we pass it to Rep. Joseph, I'd like to pass it to Gerline Joseph. We're not all related, but I'd like to pass it to Gerline Joseph of Haitian Bridge Alliance, but they are my sisters in the fight.
Darlene, I know you've called in. Are you able to speak?
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. My name is Gerline Joseph, founder and executive director of the Haitian Bridge Alliance. What you have heard is the reality. Make no mistake. We have been pushing for a stop for deportation to Haiti for many years. I will just share a story with you. The flight that was sent to Haiti last month included extremely sick, vulnerable women, one of whom fainted 3 days as she was held in detention centers in Miami. 2 days prior to her deportation, she was taken to the emergency room where she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Upon return to the detention center, she was packed with the very same clothes, the very same dressing from the hospital, onto the plane, chained, and deported. Since her arrival in Haiti, we have been able to connect with her, provide her with a phone, unable to charge her phone so she can communicate because there's no electricity. We've been trying to find ways to support while she's in hiding because she cannot go back to her hometown. When we as a country continue to inflict violence upon the most vulnerable, it is unacceptable. Deportations to Haiti must stop. Deportations to Haiti cannot continue. And we are asking, we are demanding that the Biden administration really center humanity, compassion, dignity. And we say again, deportation to Haiti is an act of violence that continues to destabilize the country as we continue to deal with these dire conditions. So our ask, no longer pleading, but asking and demanding that the Biden administration stop all deportations to Haiti so that people like the women I just mentioned are not deported or treated like human beings. I will stop there and give it back to my colleagues. Thank you so much.
Without further ado, I'd like to pass the microphone to Representative Joseph.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dottie Joseph, and I have the honor and privilege of serving in the Florida legislature as the minority leader pro tempore. And I represent Florida House District 108, entirely in Miami-Dade County, which has probably the largest concentration of Haitians in the entire United States. So what I want to do right now is talk about deferred enforcement departure, which is a temporary administrative tool that the president has at his disposal, which defers removal or deportation for designated foreign nationals residing in the United States. Using this mechanism, President Biden can provide tangible, humane relief for Haitians in this pivotal moment. For those who do not know what's going on in Haiti right now, allow me to try to break it down. Ruthless gang violence, fueled by weapons being sent from the United States, have debilitated the country's capital of Port-au-Prince and its surrounding areas. Children cannot go to school, people cannot go to work, hospitals are limited in their ability to provide care, and that's when their nurses and doctors are not being kidnapped. Let's talk about the kidnapping. That industry has skyrocketed in Haiti, and in addition to the heightened impact on women and girls who are subject to sexual violence, ranging from forced captivity to rape, Haiti is experiencing some of the most extreme violence in the nation's history. The United States government is well aware of the state of affairs of Haiti, so much so that the State Department has issued multiple travel advisories to U.S. citizens and evacuation orders from the island nation, and has taken away their non-essential personnel and had basically ceased consular activities for years to come. Now, to put all of this extreme violence in context, allow me to point out a statistic articulated by the United Nations, the BBC reporting agency, as well as ABC here in the US. While the Ukraine is currently at war, more Haitians were killed in Haiti this year and in the last few months than in the Ukraine. Let that sink in. So when we think about the gun violence, I need to acknowledge that there have been some efforts by the administration to curtail it, but much more can and must be done. Several members of civil society on the island and throughout the diaspora have asked the United States to intervene in stopping the deadly flow of arms. And we know that they are mostly coming from the United States. In addition to community leaders and immigrants' rights advocates, Haitian American elected officials, individually and as part of NEON, the National Haitian American Elected Officials Network, have requested that the U.S. cease deportations in light of the country's current conditions. Now is the time for the United States to stand in its role as a defender of democracy and human rights by authorizing DED for the Haitian people to provide relief for those already living in the United States in light of this extreme ongoing violence. And if our moral obligations are not sufficient enough to incite action at this time, as a lawyer and a former UNHCR volunteer working with refugees throughout the globe, I am appealing to the president and the vice president to meet this moment. We need to put our heads together to address the root causes of violence and the root causes of migration that lead people to leave their countries of origin, recognizing the urgent need to action. And that's one thing, that's a longer term goal. But in the meantime, the immediate need is for us to meet our legal obligations under international law, protecting refugees, and in this case, specifically addressing Haitians. The reason we have these refugee protocols is so that people are not sent to terrible conditions where they can and may lose their life. And that is certainly the case going on now. If we can do these things for the Ukraine, we can and must do even more so for Haiti, which is closer, less than 700 miles from our borders, where we have such a significant population. I am reiterating the UNHCR's call on member states in the region, hopefully led by the United States, to suspend the forced return of Haitians to the country of origin with devastating humanitarian and security crisis going on right now. We recognize the State Department's own findings, buttressing their TPS designation for Haiti with the need to cease deportations, as well as the travel advisories to evacuate US citizens. We already know the country conditions. So if the United States wants to continue to be a world leader, now is the time to lead. Please designate DED for Haiti. Thank you.
Thank you to all of the speakers today. You bring such wisdom and insight to this call. It's an honor to be here with you. I'd like to turn it to the press. We are going to unmute your microphone. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask them to the panel. You should also, I believe, at this time be able to drop questions into the chat function if that's preferred.
I see Jackie Charles's hand up.
Hi, can you hear me? I have a question. Have any of you talked with Mayorkas, anybody from DHS specifically about why they continue to deport? Well, I mean, when we ask the question, they basically point out that there have been over 53,000 Haitians who've arrived under the humanitarian parole program. And then the second time we asked Mayorkas, he basically said that American citizens were being targeted at the U.S. Embassy in Port-au-Prince. But I'm wondering if any of you all have had any sort of exchanges with DHS about the fact that they continue to deport people while telling Americans to leave.
I have personally not had that conversation, but the letter that we have filed today with the administration asks for this specific action, and we're calling on the administration to respond. My understanding is that the non-return advisory issued by UNHCR was met with silence from the administration, despite ongoing advocacy subsequent to the submission of that letter. And we believe that silence is not enough. And at this time, the government must take a stand, as we've called today. I don't know if anyone else on the line has had direct communication with the administration or received any answers, but I certainly have received none.
I have a call to the administration pending to follow up on a number of issues through the State Department and some related to the DHS issues. I believe we should be getting a response back by next week. Once I get that response back, I will be sure to let you know, Madam Charles.
Yeah, Jackie, the State Department has said to us, it's very similar things that they've said to you, just giving us updates on the number of applications that they have processed, speaking to the fact that they're moving operations to the embassy in the DR, but we also know that that's problematic as well because of the fact that number one, it's an extortion game. The visas have gone up significantly. What was maybe $30 at one point is $500, knowing that folks can't afford that. And then also just it's questionable as to whether people are even going to be allowed in, and people have been trying to process things over there and just being returned their passport as is. But the State Department seems to have no concern about that. They haven't expressed any concern about that. Always say that they're going to come back with a response, never do, never have the response. So.
And to add to that, this is Geraldine Joseph with the Haitian Bridge Alliance. Yes, we have made a call to the administration to answer to those specific issues. And we want to add that in addition to all of that, when they send the last deportation flight, within 30 minutes of the deportation flight, they also sent another flight to get people out of Haiti, to get staff out of Haiti. So therefore, it is imperative that they do not look into the numbers of people who have been applying to different programs to come to the U.S., but really address the fact that we cannot, at the same time, deporting people to Haiti and rescuing U.S. staffers out of Haiti within 30 minutes of the flight. So we have put a call, but we haven't heard back.
And remember, Jackie, the call to halt these deportations has been expressed in a number of letters on, on which we've all signed on, right? I know that Mr. Mayorkas was copied on these letters, as was Mr. Ambassador Nichols. And so, again, your question reminds us that maybe now's the time again to publicly request of them a meeting such that we may again reiterate this very demand.
I'm just wondering, I mean, have you all figure out, I mean, it just seems like there's a double policy. It's not just in terms of Americans get out, but you're deporting Haitians, but then when you ask it, they say, hey, but we have this humanitarian program. So we have this other way for people to leave. But at the same time, people who don't want to leave don't have an option because the embassy is essentially shut down. And now the border is shut down. So if you don't have somebody to apply for you, you don't have a visa. It's like you're trapped, and I'm just wondering, what do we make of this sort of U.S. policy toward Haiti, or is there a policy? I mean, what do you all see?
Wow.
You know, I think we have to call a spade a spade. I think we have to call things out for what they are. We have to name what's happening. And these are Black people who are coming into a country asking for refuge. And I think that that's just simply it. And so, you know, that story has to be told about the fact that there's this discriminatory policy towards these individuals, and it's based squarely on the skin color because there is absolutely nothing else that could justify that. So in the same ways that we're able to do for so many other nations, as we should, right? Because we said that this is where you come for refuge. However, we also can't you know, talk out of both sides of our mouths and say that we're this welcoming nation, and here we have this entire group of folks that the U.S. is trying to keep out. So
let me add to that and just say that specifically for the DED designation, the United States, let me pause. I'll come back to the DED designation. The United States policy as it relates to Haiti and Haitian nationals has varied over the years, and it's been awfully schizophrenic, sometimes fraught with some of the racism that Clerk Joseph identified. However, when we're talking about DED, it's not entirely based on skin color. For example, we know that Liberia has a DED designation, and for example, Hong Kong has a DED designation. There are some countries that do. So I think we're at the point right now where we as an organizing community need to just really amplify not just our requests, but bring it more to the forefront, as well as make sure that our international obligations are being listened to reiterate what the executive director said earlier with respect to the UNHCR designation. For the response to be met with silence from the United States government is simply unacceptable. We claim to be the leader in this hemisphere, then now is the time to actually lead.
Just from kind of the legal perspective. Go ahead, Gerline.
Apologies. I want to also remind everyone that this makes the 2-year anniversary of what happened in Del Rio, where people were abused, whipped, deported. Over 30,000 people, now close to 40,000, have been deported under President Biden's watch. So as we commemorate the 2nd anniversary of what we all witnessed, what the world witnessed of how we treat Black people seeking asylum, specifically the treatment of Haitians that continues today, we want to highlight to the world that what happened in Del Rio in 2021, those same people are still being deported back to Haiti. Let's not forget Del Rio as we are commemorating the 2nd year anniversary at the end of this month.
And that's a very
If I
good
could add,
point. I wanted to add one caveat to this that I'm not sure is always a part of this conversation when we're talking about deportations in Haiti in particular. Several of us were on the ground in Del Rio and other parts of Texas during that. I personally visited, and I was shocked by what became an apparent orchestration. And I don't have specific evidence as to this, but everything points to this, that these people were misled and lied to create a crisis at the border. And I suspect it has to do with some radical right operatives planting information so that the people showed up at that specific place at that specific time to create a crisis. And what we're noticing policy-wise and action-wise, and I'm not trying to make this a partisan issue, but we see that when we have things that we can do as elected officials, as people who quote unquote govern, at the federal level and at the state level to alleviate the situation, such as make sure we have adequate funding for appropriate DHS personnel, to process asylum applications, to do all of the things that we need to do to meet our obligations as a country, the Republicans defund and purposely obstruct so that they create this narrative of, look at all of these Black and brown people coming at the border, right? And it's a very racist and xenophobic narrative that's created both at the federal level, but right here in Florida, we have a governor who is hell-bent on just targeting migrants, taking 14 million of our Florida taxpayer dollars to go hunt down migrants in other states and then send them to other parts of the country. All of these things are connected, and I want to make sure that that's not lost in what we're talking about. It's easy for them to create a narrative of, we don't want these Black and brown people because it fits into their political ideology of the great replacement theory, right? So that's what they're fighting against. Meanwhile, we're just trying to fight for human rights, and we recognize people as people, regardless of skin color, regardless of their country of origin, and recognizing our obligations as human beings to make sure that people are treated fairly and with appropriate due process. And we have seen, and Gerline can attest, that that due process is not afforded at the same rate specifically to Black migrants, but in addition to brown migrants who are not Black. So we have a systemic problem when it comes to this, not just in our immigration system, but in our carceral system that needs to be addressed as well.
if I could just have 20 seconds, amplifying what Rep. Joseph was saying. When we were in Del Rio at the border there, some of the evidence that we were hearing about, basically channeling people to Haitian refugees to congregate there may have been from present or former CBP officers or people we heard that from former CBP enforcers who were saying that, that could have been a big piece of this. And just want to shout out, with Gerline, I know Tessa, Gypsy, Rep. Joseph, Gerline and I were there in September of 2021, basically fighting the good fight, with Marlene and the others. But the point I wanted to make very quickly for Jacqueline Charles is that the United States administration is trying to basically say, well, we are closing the door, but we're opening another window, whether it's the parole program or CBP1 or other devices. And the Family Action Network movement and many other organizations on this call stand with organizations like the ACLU, saying one should not lead to the other. And you cannot basically use the existence of other programs in order to justify denying people due process, which is basically what they're doing. Thank you.
And I also want to add, we have seen not only the differences in treatment for different immigrants, but what appalls me the most is the hypocrisy. Because in his last visit in Little Haiti, Secretary Mayorkas did say that he supported Haitians and he understood the plight of Haitians. President Biden, when he came to Little Haiti at the time of the elections in 2020, he also said that he would protect Haitians. And the hypocrisy of it all is that while they are having conversation to encourage a military intervention in Haiti, which is all based on, again, the level of insecurity and crime And also, we know that there is an issue of famine in the country. But for them to, regardless of all of that, continue to deport Haitians in those situations, I think it's huge hypocrisy. We are at the eve of another election. We have had the most Haitians deported in the history of Haitian deportation in the last couple of years. We also have seen our country go down a path of destruction, whether or not enforced and supported by foreign policies, United States foreign policies. But we know that at least the least that could happen is that the life of every single Haitian be valued as it should be, just as valued as the life of every single American. And while other issues that we have and additional solutions be offered for Haitian migrants who are here, that at least during that time, all deportation be suspended. DED is not new. DED just takes one letter, one signature from the president. Stopping deportations of Haitians just takes one thing from the current administration, and all it is goodwill. There's no politics. All it takes is goodwill and a little bit of humanity for Haitians.
I wanted to add just a little bit of legal context for this request for DED, which is so important. But we'll say that the president, the administration can, without a DED designation, stop a flight. It can do that right now. It doesn't need to issue any letter. It doesn't need to do anything complicated. It's very simple. And there are many reasons why this request for DED is so important. And there's a couple different ways that the administration can get there. But I want to kind of identify why this is such a critical measure that the administration must take. In our asylum system and regular removal proceedings, when there are changed country conditions and somebody has an order of removal, an order of deportation, there's a legal mechanism for having a judge reconsider that now kind of valid, pending, and active order of deportation. But this administration has applied kind of in every case a position of using the weapon of expedited removal to process people who are coming across the border. What that means is that when somebody has crossed the border or arrived to our shore, they're being placed, including if they're Haitian, in expedited removal. And in the expedited removal process, when somebody sits down and has a credible fear interview, and that credible fear interview results in a negative decision and leads to a final order of expedited removal, there is no legal mechanism for asking some adjudicator to consider changes in country conditions in order to rescind or reconsider that order of expedited removal. That used to exist under the regulations. The Asylum Office used to have the discretion to consider requests for reconsideration of negative credible fear determinations, but that authority has been gut from the regulations in the last couple of years. And so what ICE can do in any case and in every case, other than issuing a DED designation, is simply repapering somebody who's Haitian with a notice to appear, placing them in removal proceedings so that their claims can actually be heard and considered in the context of what is happening today, right now, even if their cases were adjudicated yesterday. And that's really, really important.
You know, as I hear all of us chime in response to Jackie's question, you know, I'm struck by the inconsistencies, right? And the hypocrisy of it all. On the one hand, our government is deporting Haitians, while on the other, they're opening up a humanitarian parolee program, right? And expanding. We're deporting Haitians while we're issuing travel advisories to Americans in Haiti. Americans who wish to visit Haiti, permanent residents of the United States, do not visit Haiti, right? We're calling for democracy, calling for elections, as we ironically continue to support an illegitimate government, right? A government that has failed on every front and that is very much responsible for the crisis, the dire crisis situation, a crisis point that Haiti is experiencing right now, right? We're deporting Haitians while we're shopping the world over to be able to gather a security force to take control or to assist in controlling circumstances in Haiti such that safety could be resumed, if I may frame it that way. And so it isn't lost on us that the inconsistencies, the hypocrisy are taking us nowhere. And part of the solutions on the one, first and foremost, is again this halt of deportations, but it's also, you know, listening to Haitians, whether it's Haitians on the ground in Haiti or it's Americans of Haitian descent who want to weigh in, who want to provide guidance, who want to provide some support, who want to participate in identifying a sustainable solution, right? So until we do some of these things, we may need another press conference such as this as we continue to demand that these deportations be halted.
I'd like to give those who have joined a last opportunity to ask any lingering questions. Jacqueline, is your hand still up, or have your questions been addressed?
Good, thanks.
Okay, great. And I'll give one last round to our panelists if you all would like to make any additional closing remarks before we wrap up and say goodbye.
I think I made mine. It's the story of inconsistencies. Thank you.
And with that, thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate your coverage of this really important ask, and urge you to follow up with any of us if you have additional questions. We hope to circulate this recording, and we'll also follow up after this call with a press release with some written quotes that you can leverage, but are available to provide additional resources as you cover this story, and are grateful for your time today. Thank you so much.